from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. Welcome to the National News broadcast. Coming to you live from the National News Studio, I am Lakshya Singha together with Kasuni Balachandra. Vote to elect a new president is tomorrow. Sajid withdrew his candidacy, SJB to support Dallas. Ranil and Anura prepare for the vote. Issuance of fuel under the quota system set to begin from the 25th. Schools to resume from next Monday. Bus fares reduced by 2.23%. Minimum fare at 38 rupees. Previous government covered up the economic crisis from the nation, acting president says to the CNN. Imran Khan wins the Punjab state election in Pakistan.
We move on to those and other stories in detail. And now on your top local story tonight, 3 candidates were nominated for the upcoming parliamentary vote to elect a new president.
Accordingly, the names of acting president and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, MP Dallas Alahaperuma and MP Anura Kumara Dissanayake were proposed. Parliament was convened at 10 a.m. today to accept the relevant nominations for the vote. The names of 3 members of parliament were proposed and seconded in the parliament today for the vacancy of the presidency with the resignation of the former president Gotabaya Rajapaksa. MP Dallas Alahaperuma's name was proposed by the leader of the opposition Sajid Premadasa and MP Professor G.L. Piri seconded it. Acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe's name was proposed by the leader of the House and Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and MP Manusha Nanayakara seconded it. MP Anura Kumara Dissanayake was proposed by MP Vijitha Herath and MP Dr. Harini Amarasuriya seconded it.
Dallas Alahaperuma මන්ත්‍රීතුමාගේ නම මම ස්ථිර කරමි.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා ප්‍රජාතාන්ත්‍රික සමාජවාදී ජනරජයේ ජනාධිපති තනතුරට තෝරාපත් කර ගැනීම සඳහා මෙම ගරු සභාවේ මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් වන ගරු රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමාගේ නම මම ඉතාම සතුටින් ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා ප්‍රජාතාන්ත්‍රික සමාජවාදී ජනරජයේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා
කළ මන්ත්‍රීතුමාලා නිශ්ශබ්ද වෙන්න
වික්‍රමසිංහ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරයාගේ නම මම ස්ථිර කරමි. ජාතික ජනබලවේගයේ නියෝජනය කරමින් අනුර දිසානායක මන්ත්‍රීවරයා මම යෝජනා කරනවා.
ඒ නම මම ස්ථිර කරනවා. වෙනත් නම් ඉදිරිපත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ අනුව 1981 අංක 2 දරන ජනාධිපතිවරයා.
Subsequently, the Secretary General of Parliament, Dhammika Dasanayake, announced that the nominations of these 3 candidates were accepted for succeeding president in accordance with the Presidential Elections Special Provision Act No. 2 of 1981. Thus, tomorrow one of these 3 MPs is to be elected as the succeeding president by the votes of the members of Parliament.
Public representatives made remarks to media at the parliamentary complex today following the handing over of the nominations of the presidential candidates. MP Vijitha Herath said that they represent the mandate of the people in the country than the number of representatives in the parliament. He added that they decided to contest separately considering the mandate of the people.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මන්ත්‍රීවරයාත් කාලකට දාවේ අනුර දිසානායක මන්ත්‍රීවරයා ළඟට ආවා.
දැන් විශ්වාසයක් තියෙනවා දැන් ඩලස්
Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa said
නෑ අපි ඒ ගැන සඳහනක් කරලා නැහැ. මේක මේ අගමැතිකම් ජනාධිපතිකම් අරගෙන සතුටු වෙන්න පුළුවන් කාලයක් නෙවෙයිනේ. ඉස්සල්ලාම බලන්න ඕනේ මේ රටේ ජනතාවගේ අදහස් වලට අනුව වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් නායකයා කවුද කියන එක. ඉතින් අපි විශ්වාස කරන හැටියට රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයාට සංවේදීතාවයක් නැහැ. අපි ඩලස් අලහපෙරුම මහත්තයාව තෝරගත්තා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා වෙනුවට.
අද රටට අවශ්‍ය වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa said that the country requires a visionary, matured and intelligent leader with the ability to negotiate with the international community. Minister Professor G.L. Piri said that he had sent a letter with 6 points over a statement, yet there is no response until now. He pointed out that the culture to divide and conquer has failed, therefore all should rally together at this juncture.
ඒක තමයි රට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ හැමෝම එක්කාසු වෙලා කඳවුරු වලට බෙදලා ලොකු විරසකයක් එක්ක රට පාලනය කිරීමේ සංස්කෘතිය සම්පූර්ණයෙන් අසාර්ථක වෙලා තියෙනවා.
මම ඉතාම සන්තෝෂයටපත් වෙනවා විපක්ෂ නායකතුමත් අපේ
MP Professor Charita Herath expressed his gratitude for the opposition leader and the chairman of SLPP for nominating MP Dallas Alahaperuma for the candidacy. MP Tisathanayaka said that they will work in cooperation in order to form a progressive government and fulfill the aspirations of the people. For the first time in Sri Lankan political history, a parliamentary vote is set to take place tomorrow to elect a president.
And now let's take a look at a brief note on the three candidates contesting for the presidency. Entering the parliament representing the Biagama electorate in 1977, acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe is considered the most veteran politician in Sri Lanka. Assuming several ministerial portfolios including youth affairs, finance, economic affairs and education, acting President Wickremesinghe has assumed the premiership for a record number of 6 times. He was first assumed the premiership in the year 1993. He was then appointed as the leader of the United National Party in 1994 and managed to form governments twice under his leadership. Parliamentarian Dallas Alahaperuma is an experienced parliamentarian. He entered the parliament in 1994 representing the Mathura district. He has also assumed a number of ministerial portfolios including transport, energy and mass media. MP Alahaperuma rendered a significant duty in informing the public over the killings occurred in the country during the 88-89 uprising in the country through alternative media platforms. Parliamentarian Anura Kumar Disanayak is also contesting for the office of the President. He entered the Parliament in 2000 representing the Kurunegala district. He was the Minister of Agriculture in the United People's Freedom Alliance in 2004. He is currently the leader of the National People's Power. Presidential candidate Dallas Alahaperuma says today should be named as the Day of Consensus.
He emphasized that the support of all stakeholders is expected for the program to rebuild the country. MP Dallas Alahaperuma made these remarks while issuing a statement to media following the handing over of nominations for the office of President today. MP Dallas Alahaperuma said that a consensus was reached between these two camps. He pointed out the importance of consensus than various other ideologies for the betterment of the country. Therefore, he said that today should be remembered as the day of consensus. He added that the country is currently facing a severe crisis, especially in the political and economic spheres. He also said that all representatives in the parliament may not be able to comprehend the aspirations of people. Therefore, he requested the people to change the present political culture in the country. He said that he became a candidate without any greed for power. He also extended his gratitude to the opposition leader for making the sacrifice for the betterment of the nation.
ඊයේ දවස වෙනකම් පක්ෂයක් විදියට තීන්දුව අරගෙන තිබුණා. එතුමත් මැතිවරණයට ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා කියලා. දවසක් වශයෙන් මම අපේ සියලුම කණ්ඩායම් වෙනුවෙන් පුරවැසියන් වෙනුවෙන් එතුමාට ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා. එතුමා විශාල කැපකිරීමක් කරා. ඒක ප්‍රතිවේදීත්වයක කැපකිරීමක්. මේ කැපකිරීම
Opposition leader Sajith Premdasa said that he made this sacrifice on behalf of the nation. He added that personal political victories should be converted into the victories of the nation. He said that the two factions will come together to create a culture of consensus, ensuring people's aspirations. He also said that the majority of the political parties in the parliament has extended their support for this political movement. He pointed out that the aim of this journey is to further strengthen the nation and its security while ensuring a better life for the people.
General Secretary of the United National Party, Palitharanga Bandara, says the party headquarters will remain open to welcome those who left the party.
He made these remarks while speaking at a media briefing held today. UMP General Secretary Palitharanga Bandara said that two factions are involved in various activities. He added that one of the attempts is to include the name list of SLPP parliamentarians in a UMP letterhead and claimed that these representatives will ensure the victory of the acting president. Accordingly, he said that a police complaint will be lodged in this regard. He also claimed that the parliamentarians are being threatened not to vote for the acting president in another attempt by these factions. Leader of the National People's Power, Anura Kumar Dissanayake, says the opportunity should be facilitated for a new government with the mandate of the people through a prompt general election.
He made these remarks while addressing the media today. NPP leader Anura Kumar Dissanayake said that whoever holds the power, this parliament can only form an interim government. He said that the parliamentary term remains close to 3 years. He pointed out that no one has the right to change the governing authority at different times. Therefore, he said that it is important to announce the term period of the interim government. Independent Party Collective said that a unanimous decision was reached to extend support for MP Dallas Alahaperuma in the parliament tomorrow.
They made these remarks during a media briefing held in Colombo today. MP Vimal Weerawansa said that MP Dallas Alahaperuma will become the president following the vote tomorrow, and opposition leader Sajith Premadasa will assume the next powerful position in the government. He said that all parties in the opposition will represent in this government.
පමණයි පිරිසුදු අනිත් ඔක්කොම අපිරිසුදු කියලා තමන්ගේ පිරිසුදුකම තමන්ම නිකන් කියා ගන්න ක්‍රමවලට යන්නේ නැතුව තාම ඕනෑකමින් ආරාධනා කරනවා අනුර දිසානායක ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණේ නායකයාට එන්න මේ සර්වපාක්ෂික එකමුතුවේ ඔබේ වර්ණයක් ඔබේ ලකුණක් ඔබේ උවමනාවක් ඔබේ අදහසුත් එකතු කරන්න මේක එහෙම වෙන්න ඕන වෙලාවක් ජනතාව മന്ത്രി ධූරයක්වත් ලබා
MP Udaya Gammapilla said that the people's efforts will become futile if the parliament elects acting president Ranil Wickremesinghe to be the next president. Leader of the Patriotic United National Party, Sugath Hewapathirana, says a strong leader who could provide sustainable solutions for the issues in the country is imperative for the nation at present.
He made these remarks during a media briefing held in Colombo today. Leader of Patriotic United National Party, Sugath Hewapathirana, said that it is important that the country has a strong leader who could address issues in the country. Several stances have risen amidst the parliamentarians representing Sri Lanka Freedom Party over the parliamentary vote to be held to elect a new president.
Convening a media briefing last Saturday, former President Maithripala Sirisena said that if several candidates are contesting at the election, then his party will abstain from voting. Former President Maithripala Sirisena said that number of candidates have come forward for the presidency. However, he said that SLFP will not vote at the election if the candidates are unable to come together and reach a consensus to rebuild the country. Meanwhile, SLFP parliamentarian Chamara Sampath Dasanayake, following the party leader's media briefing, said that he will cast his vote for a presidential candidate. A severe internal crisis has occurred in Sri Lanka Freedom Party over the decision to be taken regarding the vote to elect the next president. Internal sources have indicated that 2 parliamentarians have agreed to abstain from casting their votes. Therefore, a decision is expected to be reached at the Central Committee meeting taking place today. In the meantime, the Ministry of Education decides to resume schools from next Monday.
Issuing a statement, the ministry said that instructions have been communicated to relevant education authorities over the conducting of schools. Schools were scheduled to be resumed on the 21st of June. However, a decision was reached to resume schools on the 25th of July, considering the fuel shortages and difficulties in transportation. Accordingly, all educational institutions have been provided with instructions over the conducting of schools under such circumstances.
Minister Kanchana Wijayasekara says the national fuel pass with a weekly guaranteed fuel quota system will be initiated from the 25th of July. Meanwhile, bus fares are expected to be reduced by 2.23% from midnight today. Accordingly, the minimum bus fare will reduce from 40 rupees to 38 rupees. A decision has been reached to postpone the implementation of the National Fuel Pass system from 21st of July to the 25th of July. 2 days of the week were previously allocated according to the last digit of the vehicle registration number for fueling under the new system. However, steps have been taken to change the relevant allocations.
Accordingly, the vehicles with the number plates ending with 0, 1 and 2 may receive their quota of fuel on Tuesdays and Saturdays, while those ending with 3, 4 and 5 will be able to refuel on Thursdays and Sundays. Those ending with 6, 7, 8 and 9 will be able to receive their fuel quota on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. A pilot project will be conducted in several locations in Colombo City from the 21st to the 24th. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara in a tweet said that 2 million people have already registered for the National Fuel Pass as at 4 p.m. today, and the application is still open for registrations. National Transport Commission has said that bus fares will reduce in comparison to the fuel price decline. Accordingly, the maximum bus fare charged from Kataragama to Point Pedro has reduced by 66 rupees. The priority in fuel distribution will be given for public transport services. A discussion in this regard was held at the Ministry of Highways. The meeting was presided over by Ministers Bandula Gunawardena and Kanchana Wijesekara. A decision has been reached to provide fuel for registered buses from SLTB depots and selected filling stations, and to take measures to provide fuel for buses which are already queued up near filling stations. A decision was also reached to provide a fuel quota for buses in public transport services and licensed holding buses based on their mileage. Reports have indicated that a vessel carrying 3,500 metric tons of petrol reached close to the Palyavatta coastal line in Handala. Another ship with 3,700 metric tons of LP gas was also observed in the sea area this morning.
Indian government has called an all-party meeting to discuss over the turmoil in Sri Lanka this evening. Foreign reports have indicated that the meeting was called following appeals by Tamil Nadu-based parties to intervene in the crisis. Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar expected to brief floor leaders of all political parties in both the Houses of Parliament at the meeting. Indian Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Quatra is likely to make a presentation before the members on the situation in the island nation and the assistance provided by India so far. Last week, the Minister of External Affairs in a statement said that Sri Lanka occupies a central place in its neighbourhood first policy.
The distribution of urea fertilizer provided by the Indian government is currently underway across the country. The distribution of fertilizer in Anuradhapura district was carried out successfully.
Fertilizer was distributed through the Nochiagama Agrarian Services Centre. Distribution of urea fertilizer for the farmers in Hambantota district is currently underway through agrarian services centres. The Supreme Court dismisses the fundamental rights petition filed challenging the legality of acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe as a member of Parliament.
The three-member judge bench comprised of Justices Gamini Amarasekara, Shiran Gunaratne and Janak De Silva dismissed the relevant petition. The judge bench informed that the case has been dismissed considering the objections raised by the attorneys of the respondent. Attorney at law Nagananda Kodituakku had filed the petition at the Supreme Court. During the hearing yesterday, Attorney at law Nagananda Kodituakku informed the court that the decision to appoint acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe as a nationalist MP for United National Party is consistent with the constitutional provisions. Accordingly, the decision to appoint UNP leader Ranil Wickremesinghe as a nationalist MP and as the acting president is illegal. The judge bench yesterday informed that the relevant decision pertaining to the petition will be delivered today.
Acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe participated in an exclusive interview with the CNN yesterday. During the interview, Acting President Wickremesinghe claimed that the government led by former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa covered up facts pertaining to the severe economic crisis prevailing in the country. This is the first interview of Acting President Wickremesinghe for an international media agency following his appointment.
You said earlier, as president, it's important to tell the truth. Do you think that the previous administration was telling the truth to the people of Sri Lanka?
No.
They were not?
They were not.
They were lying to the people?
They were covering up facts.
What were they covering up?
That we are bankrupt, that we need to go to the IMF, amongst others.
So what would you like to say to the people now, truthfully, as somebody who could very likely be their next president?
I would tell the people, I know what they are suffering. We have gone back. We have to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, but we can do it. We don't need 5 years, 10 years. By next year, let's start stabilizing that, and by the end of, certainly by 2024, let's have a functioning economy, which will start growing, export-oriented economy, a dynamic economy.
Today is the 102nd day of the Galface protest.
A large gathering of people continue to engage in the activities related to the movement at the protest site in front of the Presidential Secretariat last night and this morning. Galface protesters called for a special media briefing today. During the briefing, they pointed out that no interference will be made for the process taking place to elect a president in the parliament tomorrow. The protesters also requested the masses to prevent from engaging in protests in the vicinity of the parliament.
අපේක්ෂකයන්ට අපිට කියන්න තියෙන එකම එක දෙයයි මේ අපේ අපේක්ෂාව ජනතාවේ අපේක්ෂාව ඒ අපේක්ෂාව ඉෂ්ට කරන්න අසමත් වෙනවා නම් අපිට කියන්න වෙන්නේ මෙවැනි අරගලයකට සටනකට ජනතා බලයකට මුහුණ දෙන්න ලෑස්ති වෙන්න කියලා. ඒ නිසා හෙට දවසේ කවුරු මේ රටේ ඊළඟ ජනාධිපති බවට පත් වුණා. අපි යෝජනා කරලා තිනෝ ඊළඟට පත් වෙන ආණ්ඩුවක් අන්තර්කාලීන ආණ්ඩුවක් වෙන්න ඕන. මහජන කවුන්සලයක් හරහා ඔවුන්ට බලපෑම් කර හැකි ව්‍යුහයක් නිර්මාණය කරන්න ඕන සහ අලුත් ආණ්ඩු ක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවක් විධායක බලය බලතල සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම අහෝසි කිරීමක් ඇතුළු මේ ක්‍රියාකාරී සැලැස්ම ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීම වෙනුවෙන් ඔබ ජනතාව පැත්තේ හිටගත යුතුයි කියන පණිවිඩය තමයි අපි අද දවසේදී මේ විදිහට හෙට මැතිවරණයේ විදුන් ඉදිරිපත් වෙන සියලු දෙනාට ලබා දෙන්නේ.
ජනතාවට අපි ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට කිසිදු බාධා කිරීමක් කරන්න එපා. අපි සාමකා අරගලකරුවන් ලෙස අපි අපේ නගරවල අපේ ගම්බිම්වල අපි මේ අරගලය අපි නිර්ප්‍රචණ්ඩ අරගලය දිගින් දිගටම අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා. ඉතාමත් සාමකාමී ලෙස.
අරගල භූමිය රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ දැන් ඉඳගෙන අගමැතිතුමාව ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරනවා තරේම. ඔතනින් එහාට ඔය ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂාත්වයේ ඉල්ලලා තියෙන කිසිදු කෙනෙකුට සෝ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කිසිදු කටයුත්තකට අරගල භූමියෙන් කිසිදු බාධාවක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ වගේ උසිගැන්වීම් කරන්න හදන කිසිම කෙනෙක්ගේ උසිගැන්වීම් වලට අහු වෙන්නට එපා.
Meanwhile, the fasting organized in front of the temple trees is continuously taking place for the 4th day today. This protest has been organized urging acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe to resign from his post. A group of Galface protesters met with representatives from Sri Lanka Freedom Party last evening. The meeting was held at the residence of former President Maithripala Sirisena. Accordingly, parliamentarians Maithripala Sirisena, Dayasiri Jayasekara, Duminda Disanayaka and Lasantha Lagewanne were present at this occasion. Galface protesters also met with parliamentarian Rauf Hakim yesterday. The meeting was held at Sri Lanka Muslim Congress headquarters.
Several protests were organized in several parts of the country, raising objections against acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe. A protest was also organized near Colombo Fort railway station, raising objections against acting President Wickremesinghe today. The protest was jointly organized by trade unions and people's movements. Another protest was organized in Hatton Town today, urging the resignation of acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Protest was organized jointly by trade unions representing the estates and civil society organizations. Meanwhile, another protest was organized in Kaluthara today by trade unions and people movements collective. The protest was held in front of Gota Gogama branch in Kaluthara. More stories on the other side of this break.
Welcome back. We take a look at international stories. Former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has renewed his call for early elections after a stunning by-election upset saw his party take control of a crucial provincial assembly. His PTI party won 15 of the 20 seats up for grabs in Punjab, beating their arch-rivals the PMLN on their home ground.
The result is a forestate of what may happen in a general election due by October 2023. Prime Minister Khan was ousted as Prime Minister in a no-confidence vote in April. The result in Punjab is a major blow for current Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, who leads the PMLN. Pakistan is reeling from unprecedented inflation and energy shortages as the political instability could spiral out of control. Punjab, Pakistan's most populous province, has long been a bastion of support for the PMLN of Shehbaz Sharif and his older brother, three-time former PM Nawaz Sharif. But the party won just 4 of the seats in the by-elections, with one going to an independent candidate. The result in Punjab suggests voters wish to send a message to the country's leaders about the economic hardships they are facing. Prices are soaring as the government tries to tackle a foreign debt crisis inherited in large parts from Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan's administration before he was ousted. It was the first time in Pakistan's history a sitting Prime Minister had lost a vote of confidence.
And in sports news, today is the 4th day of the first test match played between Sri Lanka and Pakistan. At close of play today, Pakistan was on 222 runs for the loss of 3 wickets.
The match is being played at Galle International Cricket Stadium. At start of the play, Sri Lanka was 329 runs for the loss of 9 wickets. Prabhat Jayasuriya became the last wicket of the Sri Lankan second innings. Accordingly, Sri Lanka put up a total of 337 runs in the second innings, giving a lead of 341 runs. Dinesh Chandimal was not out for 94. Mohammad Nawaz picked up 5 wickets for Pakistan. Abdullah Shafiq and Imam ul Haq began the second innings for Pakistan. Abdullah Shafiq scored his second test 100 today and is unbeaten at 112. Barbaz Azam scored 55 and Pakistan needs another 120 runs to win the match.